Whenever we talk about Anker, we almost always mention R&D. They seem to be one of the only companies that's out there actually innovating new products and not just replicating new versions of their older stuff. And so when we saw the initial ads of this brand new C300X slung over some guy's shoulder, ready to go on an adventure, it came as no surprise. So welcome back to the lab where our opinions cannot be bought. Today we're taking a look at this brand new C300X. This is the bigger version of the two brand new C300 power stations that Anker just launched. This is the version with the AC plugs, like the wall outlets on the front. There is a DC version as well that just doesn't have these plugs. It's strictly the USBs and the 12-volt car socket and stuff like that. It's got like a little pop-up light on the top. It's about 50 bucks less. And this is actually pretty much a direct replacement to the older, whatever, 525 or whatever they call that little thing. And that one just felt like a miniature power station, and this one kind of feels more like it's built with a purpose. And as always, we will leave some links down below to this unit and any other discount codes that we can get for you guys to save you guys a little bit of money. But before we jump into our experience with the C300X, we're going to hit you guys with a super quick 60-second spec teardown because you're probably not all familiar with this brand new little power station. First up, this thing obviously passed the tiny baby lift test. It weighs a total of 9 pounds. You could shot put this thing across the Atlantic Ocean. This has a 288 watt hour battery bank, rated for 3,000 cycles. It's got a 300 watt inverter. You can charge this guy up with just a regular 120 volt wall outlet. You can charge it with solar. You can actually charge it with a USB-C as well, which is kind of a cool feature. And in terms of ports on this thing, you have 320 volt regular house outlets on the front here. You have 3 USB-Cs, although one of them is rated for 140 watts and is a reverse charging socket. So you could basically charge a device from there, but you could also plug a cord into that and actually charge it with that same USB-C slot, which is kind of cool. There's also a USB-A and just a regular 12-volt car socket. It's got the Anker classic unibrow light going on the top. I actually really love these lights. They're super bright, very convenient to have. And of course, this unit integrates perfectly with Anker's app. It allows you to get on there and change a couple settings that you wouldn't otherwise be able to access, and basically just control this thing from afar, so in case you're not directly beside it, you can still change what's happening with it. And the price of this guy right now is $249, although it's already on like a launch sale. Hopefully we can get you guys a discount before this video goes live as well to make it even cheaper for you. But regardless, that's not actually a terrible price for what you're getting. Now, $200 may not be a ton of money, but when you're spending 200 bucks on a power station, you still want to make sure it works. So the first thing that we did with this little guy was run an efficiency test on it to see just how much power the inverter and the fans and everything on this actually consume. This inverter is rated for 300 watts, so we hit it with a load just under 300. And this power station should have been able to run that load for about 57 minutes. It actually lasted for about 50 minutes, which is 87% efficient, which on a small power station is actually pretty good. This unit also advertises that it can charge itself up within 1 hour. So we went ahead when it was completely drained and plugged it into a regular wall outlet inside of our house. And we were able to charge this thing from 0 to 100 in 1 hour and 8 minutes. So pretty close to being on par with what it advertises. The solar input works. It's a limit of 100 watts with this guy though, so it's only going to charge in about 3 hours if you use a solar panel. I will say too, when you plug a solar panel directly into this, it takes a little bit longer than a normal power station to kind of recognize the panel's been plugged in. So if you get one and you're messing around with it, just give it a minute. It's not as quick to respond to solar input as we're used to seeing. And you can also charge it with this 140 watt port. The problem that we keep running into is that we actually don't have a cable thick enough to get 140 watts into this. We noticed that most of our cables limit around the 70 watt mark. You'd need a pretty decently thick USB-C to actually get 140 watts into this power station. We also wanted to see how much this little guy could surge. It's rated for 300 watts, but if you accidentally try to ask it to do a little bit more, can it keep up? And it can, but it really doesn't want to. Usually these little power stations, they're not really meant to surge very much. But the good news on that is when we did the efficiency test, we basically did it at 300 watts. So it's a very capable 300 watt inverter. It's not like some of these other ones that you run them at 300 watts and it dies in half an hour. Something really impressive with this guy too was the sound test. It makes basically no noise. if you look through here, you can see the two little fans going. So this is really good if you're using it for like a CPAP machine, or if you're sleeping with it in a tent when you're camping or something like that. It really won't make much noise at all. And the last thing we test with a little guy like this is pass-through. If you are charging something off of one of these outlets and you notice the power station's getting low, can you plug it in to either like the wall or a solar panel and then continue to power what you're powering and use the rest of the power to charge up the battery? And you can. Pass-through works on this guy with both AC and the solar, which is just good news. There's actually quite a few things that we like about the C300X, but the first one is going to be its size. If you actually compare it to this older it's actually a 522 power station, it's actually kind of obvious why I like this design a bit more. It's really not much taller at all, but it's significantly narrower, and everything is just kind of laid out in a much easier to use format. And this also just feels a little bit more natural, the way everything is kind of laid out. It has a really nice little handle right here for you to grab. It weighs absolutely nothing, so your grandma can pick this up and move it around for you. And it also comes with that little strap. The strap to me seems like a bit of a pain in the ass. You throw it over your shoulder and it's slamming into your arm. It's like a hard plastic unit. I'm sure that there's some people out there that will find it useful. We also like that basically there's two versions of this power station. This is the AC version. It has the AC ports along the bottom. If you don't need those, if you're just like a creative, you're trying to charge your drones or computers, phones, equipment, like if you don't need these plugs, you can actually save a little bit of money and get the DC version without that. And that's a really cool feature that normally we don't see. Normally it's like it's all or nothing. You guys also know I'm a big light guy, so I absolutely love when Anker puts these little unibrow lights on their power stations. They're actually pretty bright. They only run about 3 watts. It's also useful just in your tent if you're camping or doing stuff like that. You can kind of use this thing as like a little bit of a navigational tool. There's also 8 ports on this unit. You're able to take this and use it for like a 12-volt camping fridge. Maybe not for a whole weekend, but you can use it to power that fridge. You can use it to power your Wi-Fi router and some lights when the power goes out, speakers, projectors, all that kind of like small little stuff. 300 watts is not enough to power like a coffee maker or a kettle. So if you're going like glamping and you're gonna bring your coffee maker, this is not gonna work for that. Thing that I just wish was a little different is the solar input. I get that it's a tiny power station, but if we could get just like 200 watts of solar into this, you'd be able to charge it in just over an hour. I think that 3 hours to charge this little guy that you could deplete even faster than that. I don't know. I feel like it'd be cool if we could see a little bit of a higher solar input on a power station like this, especially if it's kind of geared towards camping and that kind of stuff. You don't always have the best sun. You don't get to choose the weather on your camping trips. So if you only have an hour or 2 of daylight, it'd be cool to be able to fully charge this thing during that time. And speaking of the solar panels, Anker's panels, we've talked about this before in other videos. Anker panels are kind of just expensive. They're a little bit more than like the industry average. Right now, they actually, of course, have a sale on their 100-watt solar panel. Their panels tend to be a little bit more than other brands, so you might be better off just finding the specs of what the solar input is for this and buying a panel from a different brand. Honestly, at the end of the day, for just over 200 bucks, this thing is a pretty good deal. And we're actually kind of starting to get a little close to Christmas. I think this will make a really good gift. You can almost put this thing in a stocking. At the time we're posting this video, at least, Shop Solar is supposed to have a wicked bundle on this with a solar panel on their website. So make sure you guys check that out. Check the description for any coupon codes or anything else. Otherwise, Anker, good job on doing something new and different again and not just being a follower. That is all we got for you guys. I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out and stay charged.